Chapter 68. Listen and repeat. Conversation. The media. What does he do the first thing in the morning? He turns on the radio the first thing in the morning. What does he listen to? He listens to the weather report. What does he read at breakfast? He reads a newspaper at breakfast. What does he do then? Then he drives to work. What does he turn on? He turns on the radio in his car. What does he listen to? He listens to the traffic reports. What does the radio station do? It gets information about traffic conditions from the police. How does that help the driver? He can avoid the worst traffic jams by listening to the radio. What's in his morning post? There are several magazines in his morning post. Why does he read magazines? He reads them to keep up with the business news. What does he do at home in the evening? At home in the evening, he watches the news on TV. What do the TV channels give every evening? They give national and international news every evening. Newspapers, TV, radio, and magazines are called the media. Media is the plural for medium. A medium is a means or a method. In the case of the media, they are a means of giving out information. They keep the public very well informed. People see and hear a lot of news every day. Most people watch television or listen to a radio. Most people read newspapers or magazines. Do the media cost the public very much? No, they don't. Are newspapers and magazines cheap or expensive? They're quite cheap. What about TV and radio? After you pay for your sets, you have to buy an annual license. How is commercial television supported? It's supported by advertising. Do newspapers and some radio stations carry a lot of advertising? Yes, they do. What else do newspapers carry? They also carry classified ads. What are classified ads? They're short announcements for jobs, houses for sale, and so on. What about magazines? Most magazines are specialized. What kind of advertising do they carry? They carry ads for special groups or industries. Where do ads for products that are sold throughout the country appear? They appear on TV or in a few magazines. Vocabulary. The media. Advertising. Annual announcement. Audience. Brave. Channel. Channel. Classical. Comic. Comics. Comic strip. Comment. Commercial. Community. Condition. Crossword. Daisy. Daytime. Decoration. Detail. Driver. Feather. Feature. Foreign affairs. General. Gold. Group. Guest. Informed. Interest. International. Late. License. Like. Means. Medium, peak time, police, political, product, program, puzzle, reason, rest, section, show, strip, talk, teenager, throughout, traditional traffic jam, traffic report, weather report. Verbs and grammar notes. The media. English. To appear, to arrange, to avoid, something/doing something, to be in the news, to broadcast, 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 to carry, to classify, to come on, to give out, to give over, to hear, heard, heard, to keep up with, someone/something, to report. Grammar note. Means, this noun, like news, has a plural form but can take a singular or plural meaning. The verb usually agrees in the third person singular. Police. Rest. These two nouns always have a singular form but can take a singular or plural verb. Singular when referring to a unitary group, plural when referring to individuals or separate items. Reading, the media. The whole family is looking at the Sunday newspapers. The children are reading the comic strips. The father is looking at the sports page. The mother is reading the women's section. She's getting some ideas about home decoration. Sunday newspapers have several sections. They really try to appeal to everyone in the family. For the children, they have comics, crossword, and puzzles. They have the sports news in detail. And for those who are more serious, they have comments on political news and foreign affairs. They also offer special features that are intended for women. All of the media try to appeal to as large a public as possible. Some radio stations play rock music for teenagers. Others play classical music for an older audience. Still others broadcast cricket and football games. There are only a few magazines of general interest. The rest are intended for people with special interests. There are, for example, magazines for people who like good food and restaurants. There are others which are intended for the business community. Television tries to arrange its programs during the day for different audiences. Programs for schools and colleges come on in the morning. Most daytime programs are intended for housewives. In the late afternoon, there are programs for children home from school. Peak time on television is the early evening, from 7 till 10, when the whole family may watch. The late evening hours are given over to old films or talk shows. These usually have guests who are in the news for one reason or another. Expression note. The expression home from school refers to children and implies a relative clause, children who are home from school. The expression talk shows corresponds to the Italian dibattito or tavola rotonda. The phrase guests who are in the news means famous or currently talked about people. Comprehension exercise. The media. What is the whole family doing? The whole family is looking at the Sunday newspapers. What are the children reading? The children are reading the comic strips. What's the father looking at? He's looking at the sports page. What's the mother reading? She's reading the women's section. What do Sunday newspapers have? They have several sections. What do they have for the children? They have comics, crosswords, and puzzles. What do they report in detail? They report the sports news in detail. On what do they have comments? They have comments on political news and foreign affairs. What else do they offer? They offer special features for women. What do all of the media try to do? They try to appeal to as large a public as possible. What do some radio stations play? Some play rock music for teenagers. What do others play? Others play classical music for an older audience. What do still others broadcast? They broadcast cricket and football games. Are there a lot of magazines of general interest? No, there are only a few. What are the rest of the magazines intended for? They are intended for people with special interests. How does television try to arrange its programs? It arranges them during the day for different audiences. What kind of programs come on in the morning? Programs for schools and colleges. For whom are most daytime programs intended? They are intended for housewives. For whom are late afternoon programs intended? They are intended for children home from school. What are the peak time hours on TV? From 7 till 10 in the evening. What are the late evening hours given over to? They are given over to old films or talk shows. What kind of guests do the talk shows have? They have guests who are in the news. Grammar. Comparisons with as, / not so as. Albert is as strong as Henry. This building is as old as that one. Ethel's flat is as convenient as Diane's. Mrs. Daimler is not so old as you think she is. You are as good a football player as Pele. Grammar note. The comparative of a quality compares two people, things, or actions possessing a certain quality to the same degree. In English, this comparison is formed with as before the adjective and before the second term of comparison. The second term can be a noun, a pronoun, a possessive form of a noun, or an entire comparative clause. When the adjective compared is attributive to a noun, the structure is as plus adjective plus indefinite article plus noun plus as plus second term. Traditional comparisons. As good as gold, as old as the hills, as fresh as a daisy, as light as a feather, as white as snow, as pretty as a picture, as brave as a lion, as wide as the ocean, as cold as ice, as hard as a rock, as round as a ball, as like as two peas. Idiomatic note. In English, as in Italian, there are fixed comparative expressions that have become idioms. Some correspond literally to their Italian equivalents, while others use different words to express the same idea. Therefore, not all idiomatic comparisons can be translated literally between the two languages. Verbs not used in the progressive form. I can hear them talking in the garden. Tom wants you to type these letters. I forget his name. He seems to be happy now. Grammar note. In English, most verbs have both a simple and a progressive form, the latter expressing actions in progress. However, some verbs, because of their meaning, are not used in the progressive form. Besides auxiliaries, the following verbs are not normally used in the progressive. Verbs of perception, for example, to hear, to see, to smell, to taste. When they indicate involuntary actions, they can be preceded by can/could. Verbs expressing emotions, to care, to like, to refuse, to want. Verbs expressing thought, opinion, or intellectual activity, to expect, to forget, to hope, to know, to mean, to mind, to prefer, to recognize, to suppose, to think, to understand. Verbs indicating a condition or state of being, many of which are predicative, to keep, to look, to matter, to seem. Comprehension Exercise 1. The whole family is looking at the Sunday newspapers. 2. They are reading the comic strips. 3. He is looking at the sports page. 4. She is reading the women's section. 5. Sunday newspapers have several sections. 6. For the children, they have comics, crossword, and puzzles. 7. They report all the sports news in detail. 8. They have comments on political news and foreign affairs. 9. They also offer special features that are intended for women. 10. All of the media try to appeal to as large a public as possible. 11. Some radio stations play rock music for teenagers. 12. Others play classical music for an older audience. 13. Still others broadcast cricket and football games. 14. No, there aren't. 15. The rest of the magazines are intended for people with special interests. 16. Television tries to arrange its programs during the day for different audiences. 17. Programs for schools and colleges come on in the morning. 18. Most daytime programs are intended for housewives. 19. Late afternoon programs are intended for children home from school. 20. The peak time hours on TV are from 7 till 10, when the whole family may watch. 21. The late evening hours are given over to old films or talk shows. 22. They have guests who are in the news for one reason or another.